Are you a villain or are you a realist? That is the question. Hi guys, welcome back to Clare's Kingdom, where we talk facts, walk fierce, and remind the world that well-behaved women rarely make history.
You wake up, house up, run around in it, flossing on it. This diamond, my diamond, this rock, my rock. I woke up like this. I woke up like this.
Okay, so this is for all my women that have had the gift of discernment, the gift of holding two truths at the same time, being able to see both sides of a coin or both sides of a situation, or basically seeing outcomes before everybody else does. Or when you sense something's off with a person or a group of people and no one else sees it. Like, I literally made a video about this. Like, powerful women always sees it first, and sometimes it may take everyone else 3 to 5 business months or years to actually see what you're picking up on. And I love my villains. Like, if you know me, I love my villains. The Joker, Medusa, Maleficent, the Mad Hatter, people like the Evil Queen and like the Olivia Popes of the world. Like, I love how, despite how some of them do have their flaws and down points, but the one common theme amongst them is that they were not afraid to see and say the truth. And a lot of the time, villains are called, irrational, crazy. But what if they weren't mad? Like, what if they weren't crazy? What if they weren't extreme? Of course they did. A lot of them do have extreme tendencies, like Thanos, who literally basically tried to get rid of half the Earth's population. For my Marvel fans out there, if you know, you know. But the point is, a lot of the time, quote unquote, villains are willing to do what needs to be done. And even a woman like Olivia Pope, she was seen as cold because she was willing to make the decisions. She was willing to make the decisions that most people were not willing to do. And sometimes that requires you to have, like I said, multiple beliefs at once. Like, you can believe, multiple things at once, which is not something that I don't know if it can ever be really explained, because I know some people, as soon as they see you holding like 2 different beliefs, their first thing is to say, you know what, you're a hypocrite, you're contradicting yourself. But I don't think it's as simple as that. And I always talk about how life is not black and white. Like life is in the grey area. And if you haven't, go watch my video about black and white thinkers, because in today's world, people just love to put things and people in categories. Like, you're either this or you're that. If you're this, you can't be that. If you're in this box, you can't be in that box. But I am the type of person, and if you're on this channel, I'm going to assume that you have a similar tendency to kind of like pick and choose. When I say pick and choose, that doesn't mean to be inconsistent, but more to say that you're multifaceted, you're multi-dimensional. Like, not one thing can truly describe who you are or the things that you believe. And so when it comes to this topic, being a villain versus a realist, I mean, at this point, being a villain is a compliment, but sometimes you're not the villain. Sometimes you're just the truth teller. Sometimes you're not too intense or too serious. You just take life as it is. And when I talk about the multiple beliefs thing, like, I don't believe in things being unrealistic per se. Like, I believe that the sky's the limit. But then also, when we talk about realism, it's about knowing the patterns of this world, knowing the truths of this world, the harsh truths of this world. And a lot of the time, when you're the the villain archetype, you're able to hold the truths of this world, but still be hopeful, still be, I guess, positive. Or a lot of the time, people expect you to pick one. Like, I know for me, I'm always that one person who will just say things as they are. And because of that, some people may, be scared to ask for my opinion. Not in a overbearing sense, or not in a way that doesn't read the room, but just knowing that I'm not going to sugarcoat things. Like, I'm the one person where if you want the truth, if you want something that's not going to be sugarcoated and, trying to manage your feelings, like, people know to come to me, especially when they need that real, like, tough love or that harsh truth, because life isn't going to cuddle you. And I'm sure if you're listening to this, like, you've probably seen and gone through some things in life where there was no room for being cuddled or being, spoken through it. Like, things happen every day to people. And instead of becoming cynical or becoming absolutely helpless, I think it's a benefit for you to become a realist, become the villain. Like, the Joker. I love that man. Like, I know his character is very controversial, but he said so many things. Like, if you just ignore the theatrics and actually hear what he said, like, things like, he said, what did he say? He said, "You laugh at me because I'm different, but I laugh at you because you're all the same." And he also says things like, the popular, like, why so serious? Because he realizes that life is nothing but literally a comedy. Like, of course, a lot of serious things happen, and I do address a lot of serious topics on this channel. But it's this idea that life is really a simulation. You know, when people say to learn the game of life to win, it's a real thing. And villains tend to not really go along with that game and tend to live on the outside, which is why they are called villains, because they don't go along with what's socially accepted or normal. But especially if you want to be a woman that navigates this world to the best of her ability, it's knowing the laws, the spiritual laws, the universal laws, the laws of the world, based on your person, based on your race, based on your gender, based on your context, being able to learn the game. Like, don't hate the player, hate the game. And I've learned that lesson again and again. And I would encourage you guys to develop that like queen mindset. I'm going to make a video about that. And being a realist just means that you're able to tell yourself the truth, to stop allowing yourself to be deluded. Because, you know, especially as women, things are marketed to us as if they just fall in our lap, or as if life is a fairy tale, whether that's, you know, the perfect man coming to sweep you off your feet, or the money coming out of thin air, or, you know, things just coming out of thin air. And don't get me wrong, like, I do believe in miracles and things can really happen for you. Like, things can really be miraculous. But being a realist is being able to hold both truths. Like, yes, money, God can just bless me tomorrow with thousands of pounds or millions of pounds, but at the same time, I need to put in the effort to work towards that. I need to get the job or start the business or improve my money habits. Like, both of those things can be true. In the same way, you can receive the perfect love or the perfect, well, there's nothing, I don't think there's no such thing as perfect men, but you can get the man that's most compatible with you and the one that will be everything you've ever dreamed of. But at the same time, you can hold that truth that a lot of people, a lot of men are very transactional, or maybe they can be manipulative, maybe they can be toxic, maybe they can have narcissistic tendencies. Like, both those things can be true. And as a woman, when you're able to remain optimistic and hopeful and still be a realist and still be, you know, down to earth and grounded, like, that puts you in a very powerful position, because you'll never be in a place where your, you know, your fantasies are taken over. Like, be a woman that can have the big fantasies, but can also make room or hold space for reality and hold space to evidence for things that you can actually see, rather than going to the extreme of just trusting the feeling or trusting, you know, the butterflies in your stomach. And that's another thing. A lot of the time we're taught to either be highly just rely on intuition or rely on, you know, feelings, and there's nothing wrong with that. But there's also the other extreme where they say, you know, rely on just what you see, tangible things, logic. And I think the sweet spot is when you're able to, you know, have both. Let each side feed each other. Because there's some situations where logic alone will not explain, you know, weirdness or somebody's bad energy or bad vibes. At the same time, there are other situations where a bad feeling or bad vibe isn't going to explain away or, you know, reveal a situation. So, are you a villain or are you a realist? I don't know, maybe you're both. In my eyes, I don't think there's nothing wrong. I don't think there's anything wrong. Like, being a realist is just having the courage to not be naive, because I know they say ignorance is bliss, but it really isn't. Because whether you choose to be knowledgeable or be real, or to allow yourself to face yourself or to face the harsh realities of life, these things, these systems, these people are always functioning. Whether you decide to acknowledge power as a constitution or religion, as a social construct, patriarchy, all these things, you can ignore it, you can act like it doesn't exist, but it's always functioning, directly or indirectly. And sometimes we're even a part of these systems, or even catering to these systems, and under the guise of it being normal or being something that everyone does, we don't even question it. And then when the woman or the person who comes and says, actually, this isn't right, this isn't actually how this movement is, this isn't actually what feminism is, this isn't actually the right way to do things, like, this is actually not right, this is not just, then that person is always going to be seen as the outlier, as the quote unquote villain, because they refuse to just go on how things have been. Like, just because something is typical does not mean it's normal. Just because people have taken, for example, something like feminism and have made it mean something else, it does not change the foundation and the purpose of that movement or that thing. And being a truth teller, especially as a woman of color, a black woman, it's not for the weak. And whenever you stand up to speak, whenever, even on smaller scales within your family, your friends, your local community, just know that you're not only advocating for yourself, but for women everywhere. Because it took one woman for the first wave of feminism to kick off. It took one person, it took one group in order to change how women were treated and how rights developed over time, even though we still have a long way to go. It took those courageous voices. So yeah, whether you're a villain, whether you're a realist, keep your head up, walk with pride. Of course, be respectful, be socially intelligent and emotionally intelligent. Don't just start spewing things, and being able to read the room. Like, I've realized as well that some people genuinely cannot handle the truth. Like, you know that phrase, you can't handle the truth. Like, some people genuinely cannot handle the truth in whatever topic that is. And they just rather live under a rock, which is why they'll always call you intense, call you a troublemaker, call you too much, because you'd rather know. Like, I know people say curiosity killed the cat, not this one. Okay. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this topic. Comment down below your thoughts. Yeah, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.
I woke up like this, we flawless. Ladies, tell them I woke up like this. I woke up like this, we flawless. Ladies,